Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Of course, we are in the midst of the summer now, and there are some exciting news I want to share with you. And that is, there are actually windows of opportunity where image consultants like yourself could actually be in a position where you can offer your services as a must-have instead of the historical uh, sentiment that I keep on hearing from AICI members and other image consultants and so on, saying that for a lot of companies, they actually treat your services as a nice to have instead of a must have. But now the situation has changed quite a bit. And especially in the last couple of years, 2, 3 years in some countries, but more recently in many countries, for example, in the Malaysian government and in the Thailand government and so on, all the way to Peru, Chile, South Africa. The government, the governing body in those countries are saying that all, if not most, of their biggest companies that are public, that have their stocks in the stock exchange being exchanged freely, those that where you can buy your stocks, your shares from those companies in the stock market, they must have, they are mandated to have something called the ESG report. ESG stand for environmental, social, and governance. And we'll be focusing on the social part. What social impact a company needs to have in a report called the ESG report. Now, traditionally, all companies, big and small, they need to do well. They need to have a healthy balance sheet. They are making money. So that is their annual report, reporting that they are doing well. Now, but very recently, some very wealthy investors, including institutional investors, big companies like BlackRock, Vanguard, and other investment companies, are really pushing hard for all companies to have corporate social responsibility. That means they not only have to do well, but they also have to do good. So that is the part that we are going to be focusing on. And that is where they have this ESG report requirement. So they have to be able to show, not just say that they're doing good, but they also have to prove it. So that is the part where it's going to have a lot of opportunity for image consulting in that work, in that you can do the work. I know that with my involvement with many of you for more than 15 years, you have the capability. It's just that we just don't know what is the narrative, the story we need to talk about so that companies would realize that you're offering a service that can help them with them doing good and proving it. So that is where you and IITTI would come together as complementary. As image consultants, you are providing the service. But in terms of credentialing, in terms of proving it, the IITTI framework is a shared human capital development framework. So that, as you know, there are the exams. There are the reading programs that some of you are using so that you can serve your clients on a daily basis, and they can read an article, watch videos, write on a cell phone, and earn points. So the written exams, for example, the business level one, it gives your clients 70 points, 70 points of the World Civility Index. And reading an article or watching a video earn them daily 1 point, for example. Those are the things that would allow companies to put into their ESG report. So that is the power of us working together as a shared, like I mentioned, a shared, commonly shared credentialing system. So the World Civility Index is going to allow you to provide your service as a must-have because companies are increasingly under the pressure to have this ESG report. Big companies who are listed in the stock market, they have to have the ESG report. But even smaller companies, so-called the SMEs, the small, medium-sized enterprises, are increasingly under the pressure to provide, to publish their own ESG disclosure, their own ESG report, because if they want to work with big companies, the big companies now, they have the pressure, the mandate to ask their supply chain, their business partners, to also conform to the environmental, social, and governance requirement in a very big way. So the cascading effect of big companies needing ESG report, they cascade down to small companies so that everybody would need to write ESG reports. And this is happening all around the world. I mentioned the countries already. There are many other countries. In fact, most of the developed world and developing world are needing something like this. And this is also the way how we together at IITTI can really help save the world in a very big way. Because if you really want anything changed in the world, you have to affect businesses. If businesses don't do anything, nothing is going to move. But if businesses see that this is the way they want to go, and ESG is mandated by the government, is a must-have, they can actually affect a lot of positive changes in the environment. They need to have mandatory requirement, how much carbon they capture, how much carbon they use, how much CO2, carbon dioxide, they emit. So that's the E part. That's well established. The ESG, the G part is the governance. That's also fairly well established. What are the people they need to be on their board of directors, so on and so forth. So those are fairly well matured. The S part that we are interested in, the social impact. What kind of empathy training, what kind of resilience training, what kind of human capital development can a company show in a report? Now, many companies have tried to write something on their own. Our company, we set up this orphanage in somewhere in a developed world, in a developing world, and we did that and that and that and that. But the critics, the ESG analysts, there are big companies who do this kind of analysis, just like financial analysis. They have ESG sustainability and analysts. They would say, prove it. How do you prove something like this? And that has always been the problem with image consultants, is that you cannot prove your own work. There's an inherent, intrinsic conflict of interest. You cannot work for a company, the company hire you, and you say, well, okay, this is my certificate, homegrown certificate of participation or certificate of competence and so on. The problem is in the real hard-nosed business, analysts that they look at something like this. In the business world, they say, how do you prove it? And IITTI, we have been running around finding universities, for example, that would collaborate with us. And I'm very happy that we have been doing that. For example, with the MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Presencing Institute, they invited us to be part of their lab for solving world problem. The Harvard University, Stockholm University, Lund University group, they have this thing called the Inner Development Goals, IDGs. And a couple of years ago, one of the chapters, the Swiss chapter actually published a book with a chapter dedicated to the World Civility Index. And they got published in Germany by an academic publisher called De Gruyter, which is very reputable with more than a century of reputation. So we are building that kind of credential around the world. And oh, by the way, of course, we got accepted and registered with the United Nations in 2019 with the Department of Economic and Social Affairs, DISA, the Sustainable Development Initiative, or the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. So we are building that credential for you as the actual people who are doing the training. IITTI doesn't do the training, of course. So we are the credentialing body. We are like ISO or other financial credit bureau. So that is our nature. So together, we have this chance, this window of opportunity to capture the ESG market, especially the S part in that sense. And that is a once in a lifetime opportunity that you and your company and your business partners can develop this kind of model so that you can capture the training opportunity worldwide in a very big way that never happened before. Thank you so much.